the assumptions of NLP that are different to, I think, some of them out there in the world. But check these out. For me, one of the biggest is the map is not the territory. And you say, well, what does that mean? This is the thing about radical constructivists, that we construct our maps of the world and then think they are the real world. And most of the time, they work fine. But you know what happens when a map gets out of date? It causes severe trouble when you come to that bit where the territory and the map are two different things. So our maps in the head are what a lot of experience is about. And most of the time they work great, leave them alone. But when the map doesn't fit the territory, it's time for some change here, because when you change these patterns of thought around, you can produce different results quite easily. But if the map doesn't work, it's never going to produce the result you want, is the idea. So, how do you do that? Well, a funny way of saying a part of this is that if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. So if you want something to be different, you're going to have to do something different somewhere. And at a very common sense level, that is true. But there are some other bits that people find useful. One bit is there is no failure, only feedback. I was talking to a participant recently who said, when she got hold of this, she went, wow, if I could have that become true for me, that would change my life. And she got really kind of excited about it. And that did indeed become the case. It took more than a few days. It was a month or two before she was through that. But most of us, I think, have picked up too much failure stuff from the culture. I certainly had my fair share of it to clean up. But if it was true that there is no failure as such, there is only feedback, that didn't work, try something differently, then that becomes much easier and healthier and takes away a lot of the reasons to beat ourselves up, which most of us do far too much of, as far as I can tell. So that's a nice one, and coupled up with that you do have the resources you need, but they're tucked away in here, and in our society, they're not yet as good as they will be one day about teaching us as kids how to tap into our own internal resources. So some of them you've discovered, well done, good for you. There's whole areas you probably haven't discovered yet, and you'll find out as you go on exploring NLP what those are. But we do have resources. And finally, in life, it's not what happens to you, because stuff will happen every day of your life until the day you die, but it's what you do with what happens to you that determines your experience. And that recovering of choice, especially when you're under some pressure or adversity, is hugely useful.